to be a 3 looks, 3 palettes with all 3 of the Odenzai new Legendary Diversa Collection. I actually currently don't have the other 2 palettes in my possession. I am going to be recording a look with the Hummingbird palette from the Fancy Face today. And I'm going to be switching over into voiceover mode for these looks because I am getting ready for work, and I figured it would just be a little bit easier, make the videos a little bit faster if I just do voiceovers for each look. Probably won't be up till like the middle of the month. I'm filming this pretty early in October. But I wanted to do a 3 looks, 3 palettes video. I've never done this before because I am going to be having a ton of videos going up in October, and I just didn't really have the time to do first impression looks on all 3 of these palettes and also another look with all 3 of these palettes. So I thought I could sandwich 3 looks with 3 palettes in one video because most people have been doing this with these palettes. So I hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to do more so of a blue toned look today with this palette because I really want to play with some of these blues. So we're mostly going to be sticking with these 2 shades and these 2 shades. So I hope you guys enjoy. Okay guys, so we're going to jump into the first look with the Odenzai Hummingbird palette by Tina from the Fancy Face. And the first shade we're going to go into is the shade Clear Blue, and we're going to use that in our crease area. I am going to be using my Hocus Pocus mirror. I filmed this video like way back in the beginning of October, and I'm not recording this voiceover until like the middle of November, so that's how many videos I posted in October. So I'm just going to apply this in my crease and build up the color. It's a very light, almost like cloud sky blue shade, so I went ahead and did the other eye off camera, and now I'm going to add a deepening defining shade, and I'm going to use the shade Lagoon. And this shade is actually not as deep as it appears in the pan. When you actually apply it to your eyes, it kind of transforms to like this pool blue kind of color, like this lighter turquoise shade. It's so interesting. I mean, I was kind of hoping that it was going to be that deepening blue shade, but it wasn't. So I went ahead and applied that, and then I went ahead and applied my glitter glue to my lid. And now we're going to be going into the lid shade, and the shade I'm going to be using is the shade called Blue Fields, and it is a stunning deep blue shimmer with a ton of multi glitters in it. The thing is that with these shades, they are so multi-dimensional in person that they're not just like a regular blue shimmer or a regular like green. There are so many different like multi-dimensional sparkles in these shades that's what makes them so unique and beautiful. And the Odenzai shimmer formula is just fantastic. And I'm just going to be applying this all over my lid. I didn't decide to go into a deepening outer corner shade. I wanted to keep the look pretty blue. I didn't want to add like any purples from the palette or anything like that, but I wanted to show you guys that you can use this palette as a standalone and still create quite a few different looks with it. So then I'm just going to apply it to the other eye and apply it all over my lid and build up the pigment a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the rest of the face. Okay, so now I'm going to go into my eyeliner, and I'm going to use the shade Overnight from Marc Jacobs. This is the cream gel liner, and no worries about my face details. I will go into that at the end of the look, so you guys will know what I used for my face makeup, my foundation and concealer and everything. So I'm just going to apply that on my waterline. I wanted to keep it simple and just do a blue liner. I didn't want to smudge anything on the lower lash line or anything. And then I will go into the palette again so I can do the inner corner shade. Okay, so now we're going to go into the inner corners, and we're going to go back into the palette, obviously, and we're going to take the shade Tropics, and I'm going to put that on my inner corners. It's this beautiful light turquoise shade, and it's just so pretty. And I'm going to go ahead and pop that on my inner corners. So I'm just going to do one eye, and then I'll do the other eye, obviously. But I'm sorry I was so bad about telling you guys what I used on my face. I don't think I even told you guys what mascara I used either. I might have at the end, but yeah. Mostly I was focusing on the palettes in this video, so again, my apologies. And also, when I was filming this video, this is how old this video is, I was watching Hocus Pocus at the beginning of October while I was filming this video. Okay, so anyway, now I'm going to go into my bronzer, and I'm going to be using my Gucci bronzer in the shade 01 Tan Bronze. This is the latest shade they have available. And you guys know this has become like one of my favorite bronzers of the year. I just love it so much, and I use it so much for work because I just love wearing it as much as I can. And then I'm going to go into the blush, and I'm going to go into my Odenzai blush because I wanted to use as many Odenzai products as I could for these looks. And I believe the shade that I used was Apricot Girl. I think that's the shade that I have, or Sweet Peach. I can't remember the shade name, but it's sold out anyway. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to continue applying that blush. It's such a pretty, like, soft peach shade, and I really love putting orange and blue together. I think that they're such complementary colors. So usually when I do like a blue eye look, I love pairing it with like a warm peach shade for like the blush or like the lipstick. Okay, and now we're going to do the highlighter, and I'm going to be using my Odenzai Solome palette. And I think I'm going to be using two shades together. Yeah, I'm going to combine the two lighter shades. I cannot pronounce the names of these. They're all in like Swedish. So forgive me if I don't know how to pronounce the names. But I'm using like the icy blue shade and then like the really light white shade. And they're both gorgeous together. I love the Odenzai highlighters. I mean, I love everything from Odenzai. Let's get real. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that as my highlight. And it just looks so pretty. And I'm just going to apply it to the other side. And they just are so beautiful and intense and like just so gorgeous on the skin. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that. And then I'm just going to do my nose and my Cupid's bow. And then above the brow. And that's pretty much it for the face. And I'm going to go ahead and do my lips. So then for my lip liner, I'm going to be using the ColourPop lippy pencil. I believe in the shade Ashton. I don't think it's BFF. I think it's Ashton or Cool BFF or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that as my lip liner. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to be doing my lipstick. And for that, I'm going to be using the ColourPop lip cream from the Hocus Pocus 2 collection in the Mary Sanderson shade. I'm just looking up that name. Just give me a second. It's called Calming Circle. And this has been like my absolute go-to nude shade basically for the whole month of October, and I've been using it a lot this whole past month of October. I haven't used it as much in November, but I was definitely using it a ton in October. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that. These lip creams, they are really nice in the lighter shades, but I find with the darker shades, they are a lot more wet and not as matte as the lighter shades are. I haven't had any problems with this shade or the two lighter shades that I got from like the first launch, like the shades Baby Spice and the Rachel. Those have been great, and so is this one. But the, like, deeper shade from the Hocus Pocus collection, I am going to be using that one in my next look that you'll see. They're, like, a lot more wet. These are, like, a lot more matte when they apply. And that's pretty much it for this look, and then we will go over my thoughts and everything of the palette. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish applying it for 10 million years. Okay, you guys, so this is pretty much the finished look. Hopefully the shadow isn't transferring too much, but I think it turned out really beautiful. So here are the eyes, the cheeks, and the lips. Honestly, the palette is so much more vibrant than I'm expecting. Like, I thought that the powder blue pastel shade was going to be a little bit lighter, but it's actually really pretty and works really well as a crease shade. And then the Lagoon shade is kind of transformative on your eyes. I mean, I did watch another video, I think, with Judy's look using this palette, and she said that this is actually brighter on the eyes than it looks in the pan. It looks really deep in the pan, but it's actually really like more like a poolside kind of blue. And this Hummingbird shade, oh my god, it's so gorgeous. And then the inner corner shade, Tropics, is just, I mean, not Hummingbird, Blue Fields. And then Tropics is gorgeous on the inner corner. So yeah, I've been loving this palette. So what I used on my face, of course, I primed with my MAC Fix Plus and my Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. And then for my foundation, I used the Fenty Beauty, what is this called again? Pro Filter Foundation in the shade 110. And then for the concealer, I used the NYX Born to Glow Radiant Concealer. And I have mine in the shade, I think it's the lightest shade they have available. I think it's called just Fair or Porcelain. It doesn't say on the actual thing. I love how I always get concealer everywhere. So that's what I used. And then to set under my eyes and on my face, I just used my usual powders, which is the Pat McGrath Lab Skin Fetish powder underneath my eyes, and then I just used my Dior powder on my face, and I love how this look turned out. And then for my mascara, I used the L'Oreal Voluminous Primer, and then I just went in with the Pretty Vulgar mascara. I think this one's getting a little bit old, so the Raven mascara, I think it's getting a bit old, and then of course I used my Lash Discovery on my lower lashes, and that's everything, and I really love how this turned out. I really love this lippy. Again, this is the first time that I'm using this lipstick because I just received this order yesterday, and I love the little mirror. So yeah, I have to go to work. So yeah, I really love how this turned out, and stay tuned for the next look, which I think will probably be with Judy's palette, the Red Dragon palette. So see you then. Okay, so hey there guys. So today's video is going to be look number 2 with the Odenzai Giant Wolves and Annette's Makeup Corner eyeshadow palette. I'm just wearing a hoodie because I am kind of cold right now. It is going to get warmer today. I'm wearing my Pride shirt from Lucky, and I thought I would do a look with this guy because we're wearing white t-shirts today to work, so for Columbus Day. So I really want to play with some of the purple shades in here today. So I think I'm going to stick with mostly like these shades here, and I'm really thinking about like a smoky purple eye. So I'm really excited for that. This is only the second look that I'm doing with this palette. So we're going to jump into a voiceover, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Okay, you guys, so now we're going to be going into the Giant Wolves palette. And the first shade I'm going to start off with is the shade Cosmos. And that's a really beautiful, like deep, like almost like bluish purple shade. And we're going to start off with that shade. And I was surprised on how pigmented it was when I first picked up the shade. So that's why I'm like, oh crap, like that's really pigmented. So I'm just going to go ahead and buff that in my crease. And I was so blown away on how beautiful it was. Like, because purples are so hard to do. And this applied like a freaking dream. It's just, their mattes are so buttery and creamy, and I was like, just like wow. So I'm just going to go ahead and buff that out in my crease. And I was like, dang, like I was really surprised on how good it was. So I'm just going to keep on applying that and buff it out. And then I'm going to apply it on the other eye. And I'm just going to keep on buffing that out on this side. And again, I was just like, oh my God, this shade is like so good. So I was just blown away on how good it was. And now for the deepening shade, I'm going to go into the shade called Howling, which is kind of like a more plummy purple shade. And I'm going to apply that as my defining shade in my crease. And I'm just going to buff that out. And again, I loved how this shade applied and blended out. Their shades just are so wonderful to work with because they build up beautifully. And I'm just going to apply that as my defining shade. So I'm just going to go ahead and buff that out. And I was like so amazed about how well both of these shades layered with each other. Again, their matte formula is just phenomenal, and it's become one of my favorite formulas ever. It's just so good. So I'm just going to apply that on the other side. And then that's it for that. And then we're going to go into, yeah, and I was really impressed. And then we're going to go into the outer corners. So for the outer corners, I'm going to go in with the black shade, which is called, I believe it's called Annihilation. I don't believe it's called Annihilation because it's not spelt like that. I'm not really sure what Annihilation means. I'm going to have to look that up. But I'm going to use that and buff it in the outer corners. And again, I was so blown away on how good this black was. It was great. And I do like that at least one of these palettes have a black shade in it because black is always the perfect deepening shade to use if you don't have a deepening shade in any other palette. But there are so many good deepening shades in this palette. There's at least like 4 good deepening shades in here, and like the shimmers are beautiful, and then there's some really pretty crease shades in here. So I've been having like a soft spot for this palette, and now I'm going to go into the lid shade, and the shade I'm going to be using is the shade called Skull. I was torn between whether or not I was going to use Hati or Skull, but I decided to use Skull, so I'm just going to go ahead and go in with that shade. And you guys, this shade is so beautiful. It's like a blue, it's like a black based purple shimmer, and it's so pretty. It has like purple and blue glitters in it, and I was like, oh my God, this shade is so pretty. And I was just blown away on how good it was. I was like, oh my God, this is so pretty. And their shimmers almost apply wet. That's how good they are. So I'm just going to go ahead and build that up on my lids. And I'm just going to apply it all over my lid area. And then I'm just going to go ahead and apply it on the other side as well. But again, it's such a beautiful like black based purple shimmer. It's just such a unique color. And I love it. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply it to the other eye now. You know how old this video is where this nail polish is literally like a month old at this point, like this Tiffany green that I did. So, yeah. It's such a pretty color and I really, really like it. Sorry. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish applying it. Okay, so I'm just going to jump back in regularly because I'm just going to put on eyeliner and my inner corner highlight. So I'm just going to do Marc Jacobs gel liner in the shade Grapevine because I didn't want this to be too colorful on the lower lash line, but I still want it to be like monochromatic. So I'm just going to go in with this. See if I can actually get it on. I might bring this, and I'm going to bring concealer to work because I'm actually going to be going out after work, and I'm not going to be able to have time to go home first because I'm going to see a movie with one of my friends. We're going to go see Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. This is only the second movie I've seen since the movie theaters have opened again. And the first time that we went, there was like nobody there. So I don't think it's really going to be busy. So, and then for the inner corners, I'm going to go into this shade right here. I don't know how it's going to show up. It's probably going to be super glittery. I mean, I was kind of just going to go in with Astral again, but I really want to use this color. So, did I spray this one again? I can't even remember, but it's just a little bit stiff. That's okay. And I'm going to take the shade called Hati. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the names, but it's H-A-T-I. And I'm going to take that and pop it on my inner corners. I might have to spray it because it is super duper glittery. I don't know. Because the shade Astral just like picks up right away. Why do I constantly drop this mirror? Yeah, this one's pretty glittery. It does show up with my finger. Of course, let me get it all underneath my eyes then. Oy vey. Okay, let's try it on the side. Alright, I'm gonna wet my brush. I'm just gonna use the Milk Makeup Spray. See if that helps. It doesn't really do much. Because again, these shades are like super sparkly, so. Yeah, that is really pretty though. I mean, I can see it from far away. It's like really reflecting really beautifully. Like, you don't really need much of it. All right, I'm going to finish up the face, and then I'll tell you guys what I used later when I get home. So, bye. But I'm loving this, like, purpley look. It's so pretty. Bye. Okay, so hey, guys. So, I just wanted to tell you what was on the rest of my face. I forgot to repowder really quick, because at this point, my face is just, like, so dry that I didn't really want to repowder. But I'm looking really shiny, so let's just do that really quick. Okay, that did help the shine more. Okay. Because I've been spraying my face constantly because my face is just so dry because I was out for a while today. I just look like a shiny light bulb. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys what was on the rest of my face. I'm sorry for like the condition of my makeup right now, but I am just really tired and I was out all day. You guys saw most of the eyeshadow. So for the rest of my face, I'm just hoping my lips stay intact. So for my face, I used the usual primer, which is my MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus in the Cucumber scent, and then the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. And then for my foundation, I used the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Foundation. I am so tired, you guys. In the shade Light 1. And then for my concealer, I used the Coinciding Concealer in the shade L1. I know there's a little bit of transfer underneath, but whatever. At this point, I'm too freaking tired. I tried to fix up some of my makeup, but my face is so dry at this point. So, and then I set it with the Dior powder in the shade Zero Neutral. And then I used the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish powder underneath my eyes. And then for mascara, I used the Gucci mascara. I feel like this is kind of getting old at this point because every time I wear it, it ends up transferring to my crease. So I might get rid of this soon, even though um uh this is like an expensive mascara, but you know, you can't keep mascaras forever. So yeah. And then I just used the usual Lash Discovery on my bottom lashes. And then for my bronzer, I used the Gucci bronzer in the shade 01. And then for my blush and highlight, I thought the blush was going to be a little bit more cool tone, but I kind of like how it looked with this, but maybe I should have used a different blush, but whatever. It's usually supposed to be mauvier tone, but I think it's just because my blush brush isn't the cleanest. So I'm being honest, you guys. I used the Kaleidos blush in the shade Mood, and then I used the highlighter as well in the shade Bloom. This is the Lo-Fi Duo Blusher in the shade Lo-Fi Rose. And then for my lips, I just set my face with my Milk makeup setting spray. I cannot wait to rip my makeup off because my lips are just, my face is just so dry at this point. And then I cheated a little bit with lip liner, and I used the Marc Jacobs gel liner that I used on my waterline as a lip liner because I don't really have a shade that goes with this lipstick. And then for lipstick, it's kind of bleeding a little bit, but I really wanted to wear it out, and it was actually really comfortable to wear. This is the Hocus Pocus lip cream in the shade Tonight We Fly from the new Hocus Pocus collection. It's a really pretty shade, and I wanted to wear it because I was doing like a purpley tone look, because I wore my Doctor Who tank top with like the purple TARDIS on it, and I wanted to wear a purple lippy. So yeah, that's it, you guys. I love you guys, and I will see you guys for look number 3 with the Red Dragon palette. So yeah, bye. Okay guys, so now I'm going to jump into the third palette, which is the Judy and Red Dragon palette. I guess I didn't film a little intro before I jumped into this look, or maybe I just accidentally got rid of it. So now I'm going to jump into the Judy palette, and I was so excited to use this one. So the first shade I'm going to go into is the shade Serene, excuse me. And it's like this really beautiful, like peachy toned, warm tone color. And you guys know that these are my shades. So I was so excited to go into this palette, and it's just so pretty. So I was really excited to use this shade. So I'm just going to go ahead and buff that in my crease area. And again, I was so impressed with how pigmented this shade was. It's just so pretty. And there's something about Odenzai's mattes that just really apply so beautifully to the eyes. Like, they don't emphasize any texture. They're so smooth. And they just, like, literally some of the most beautiful mattes I've ever used, if not my favorite mattes that I've used this year, because they're just amazing. So I'm just going to go ahead and build up that shade as well. Sorry if you hear dogs barking, but they like to bark occasionally because I think my dad just came back home again. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish applying that. And now we're going to go into the deepening shade for the crease. And we're going to use the shade called Yin. And it's more of like a medium toned, almost light reddish brown shade, and we're going to use that one and apply that in the defining area. And again, just so beautiful, and I love how this one applied. It's just so pretty, you guys, and I just went in with that one, and I just buffed it out. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go in with it on the other eye. And then just finish applying that as well. Sorry if it gets a little bit boring. But sometimes, like, you don't know what to say. Filming these, recording these voiceovers sometimes. Because I'm like, I'm applying it and now it's done, you know? So yeah, that's basically it for that. And then for the outer corners, I'm going to go into the shade called Aurora, which is a beautiful, deep, chocolatey, kind of almost cool toned brown. It's not as warm as some of the other shades in the palette, but it's such a pretty deepening brown, and you guys know I'm a sucker for these kind of shades because I love using these types of browns to deepen up any look, whether it's neutral or not. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply that on the outer corners. And I'm just going to apply it. And also for all three of these looks, I was using the Odenzai brush set that I had ordered with these palettes because I wanted to get the free shipping. So I just went ahead and applied that one on my outer corners. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish applying it. This is taking a little bit longer, but I love these Odenzai brushes as well, and they just work so well. And then for the lid shade, I'm going to go into this shade called Overheat, which is this really beautiful peachy toned shimmer. And again, you guys know I love these types of shades, and it also has kind of a shift to it as well. It's not just a peach shade. It has a little bit of like a gold peachy shift to it, and it's just stunning. Like, I think the shimmers in this palette are stunning. I'm also surprised that this is the most matte heavy palette out of all three palettes, but I'm glad that she gave us a ton of matte options in this palette. But honestly, I wish that there was one more shimmer in this palette. And then with Tina's palette, and I was like, it's just gorgeous. I was just so impressed with how beautiful it was. With Tina's palette, I kind of wish there would have been like a couple more matte shades in there, because usually Tina's all about the matte shades. But again, she did make that palette as intended to be a companion palette to other palettes that you have. So once I'm done with the eyes, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my my lower lash line and everything. So for that, I'm going to go into the warmer toned brown shade again, which is called Yin. Hold on. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it was the right shade that I was saying, because for some reason I had to double check which shade that was. So it is the shade Yin, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that on my lower lash line. And again, so pigmented and so beautiful on the waterline. On the lower lash line. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply it on the other side as well. And it's just, I was just so blown away at how pigmented these shades were. It's just, they're so good. Like, could you ask for anything more? Probably not. So I'm just going to apply that on the lower lash line as well. And then I'm just going to wipe my brush off, and then I'm going to do the inner corners. And I was kind of torn as to which shade I wanted to use, but I think I decided on the gold shade, which is called Solar Flare, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the inner corners. And I'm just going to put that on, and it's just such a beautiful, like, gold greeny shift shade. It's so pretty, and I'm just going to apply that. And I was just like, wow, like, this was one of my favorite warm toned palettes of the year. I'm just so impressed with this palette. And again, you guys know I love warm toned eyeshadows. Like, I literally think I could just have this palette and be happy. I don't think I need any other warm toned palettes in my collection at this point. Okay, and now we're going to finish up the eyes, and I'm going to apply my eyeliner. So I'm going to use the Marc Jacobs gel liner in the shade Brownie, and I'm going to apply that to the waterline. And I'm going to go ahead and apply it on the other side as well. And then that's basically it for the eyes. And then I'm going to go ahead and go over all my face details again at the end. I'm just going to keep on building up the pigment for the liner to make sure it's where it's at that I'm satisfied with. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this look, and I hope you guys enjoyed all 3 looks. I had a blast filming this, and I think it was very helpful for me to do it like this instead of trying to film separate looks for all 3. Okay, you guys, so this is the finished look for the last look. So I just wanted to tell you guys what I used on my face. So for my primer, I used the MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus Cucumber Spray, and then I used my NYX Marshmallow Primer. And then for my tinted moisturizer, I used the NYX Bear With Me tinted moisturizer in the shade Pale Light. I can't get enough of this. I think this is such a beautiful tinted moisturizer. I feel like I'm going to have to do like a battle of the tinted moisturizers that I've used this year. But I love the Urban Decay Hydromaniac still and the other ones that I've tried. But there's something about this one that just makes your skin look so beautiful. I love it so much. And then for my concealer, I'm still trying to finish up the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. So I just used that. And then I set my under eyes with my Becca Hydro Mist Powder and my T-Zone. And then for my face powder, I used the Wet n Wild. I'm still trying to use that up as well. And then I just used my L'Oreal Voluminous Primer for my lashes. And then for my eyeliner, like I said in the voiceover, I used Brownie by Marc Jacobs. Then I used my CoverGirl Lash Blast Mascara. And then I used the Lash Discovery on my bottom lashes. And then for my bronzer, I used the Jaclyn Hill bronzer. I just wanted to whip out a couple of bronzers that I haven't used in a little while. So I just used the bronzer and blush duo in Pink Me Up and Oh Honey. And Oh Honey is the bronzer shade. And then for my blush and highlight, I used the Essence Satin Touch blush in the shade Satin Coral. I'm trying to pick out and use some older blushes in my collection because for some reason I get bored with blushes really fast, and somehow I've used all the blushes that that I've tried these past few months. I actually did not pick up any new blushes in the last 2 hauls that I posted, so I've been wanting to whip out some older ones. So I pulled out this one and used it, and I still love that one. And then for my highlight, I used a oldie but a goodie. You guys know I've used this so much and raved about it so much on my channel, but I decided to whip out Anastasia's Amrezy today. And I think that Anastasia's formula is one of the best highlighter formulas in the game. She makes gorgeous highlighters. And then I just set my face with the ColourPop Pretty Fresh spray, and then I just brushed through my brows with the ColourPop Brow Boss gel. And then I used one of my ColourPop Luxe lipsticks in the shade Ariel. And I thought that this was a perfect peach shade to finish off the look. So yeah, these are my 3 looks. Let me just put this back in its sleeve. Oh my goodness. Using the 3 Odenzai palettes from the Legendary Diversa Collection. I was super excited to do a 3 looks and 3 palettes with these palettes for you guys. And I just cannot get enough of these, you guys. Odenzai makes some of the best eyeshadows I've ever used. This look with the Judy palette today, there's something about their mattes that just blend so beautifully together, and they look so gorgeous on the eyes. And this was actually the last shimmer that I needed to use on my lids today for this palette, so I actually finally tested out the whole palette. I'm still testing out the other 2, but I have used every shade in this one because you guys know warm tones are my jam, and I'm just in love with this palette. The mattes are so highly pigmented, and the shimmers are just beautiful. This Luna shade is just fantastic. I did use that in my first impressions video. And this shade, Solar Flare, I was going to use this initially with some of these other shades for this video, but I decided to use... I already used this off camera another day, and it was so gorgeous, so I did decide to use that on my inner corners today. But yeah, the shimmers and the mattes in here are just freaking beautiful. The mattes are so highly pigmented and blendable, and the shimmers are outstanding, so absolutely love this one. And then I think my second favorite is the Giant Wolves palette. I mean, I don't think I can pick a favorite out of these 3. They're all uniquely beautiful, but there's just something about this one that I just get so excited to create looks with this. And again, the mattes are so beautiful and blendable. I love the purple look that I did in this video for you guys. It just turned out gorgeous, and I loved how my eyeshadow looked for that day. I did do a green, like, grungy look with these 3 shades yesterday, and I got a lot of compliments on it yesterday. I'm wearing that look in my haul video that I posted of sharing these palettes and a couple of other things that I picked up, and I just think this palette is wonderful. It's so gorgeous. These shimmers are just beautiful. This astral shade, this dual chrome eternal shade, I used that in my first impressions for this palette. I just can't get enough of this one. It's just gorgeous. You can go really dark and grungy with this, and I love the deepening mattes in here, and the shimmers again are wonderful. So absolutely love this palette as well. And then Tina's palette, the Hummingbird palette, I forgot to say Annette's Makeup Corners palette, love it. And she actually just reposted my green look. I posted it on my stories yesterday, and Annette reposted my green look, so I thought that was awesome. And she said, "Me too, girl, I love it too," and that was really sweet of her. So, and then the last one is the Hummingbird palette. Again, this palette, I think the reason why I haven't used it too often is because I feel like I'm really going to use this more so in the summertime. But again, these shades just do work year-round as a cohesive palette that you can use anytime. But these are just stunning. The shimmers in here are insanely gorgeous. I cannot wait to use more of them. So now I've used all the palettes 3 times. Actually, I just used the Judy one 4 times because I did use all the shimmers in that one. But I can't wait to play with the Giant Wolves and this one more so, and I'm going to use probably these 2 together a lot. So just the shimmers are beautiful. I absolutely love this one as well, and Tina is just such a sweet, amazing person, and I can't believe she tuned into my live swatches of swatching all these palettes. I'm still on cloud 9 about that. And the mattes in here are beautiful too. If this one's not your cup of tea, again, she did create this one to be a pairing palette. So you can pair any one of these shimmers from this palette and it's going to be stunning. So yeah, I think they all created such gorgeous palettes. Initially, I was only going to get Tina's, and then I was like, I have to get these 2. And I absolutely have no regrets getting all 3 because they're all wonderful and beautiful in their own way. And I think they just smashed it with this collab. So yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I gave you guys some inspiration. If you guys have picked up any of these palettes, please let me know. Also, in the live of me swatching these palettes, Mary and Debbie were both talking to Tina as well because they were both there watching me swatch the palettes. Mary bought all 3 palettes just based on my swatches, and I knew she was going to end up picking these up because they're so gorgeous. And Debbie ended up picking up the Hummingbird palette from Tina, and they both said we're picking these up because of my swatches. So they're so beyond sweet. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819. I've also been talking with Judy as well, and she's such a sweetheart. And I told her you created like a beautiful warm tone palette, and she said that means so much to me. So they're just all really nice and interact with their subscribers, and I really love that. So yeah, follow me on my Instagram at CBW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. I love you guys. Bye.